All right. I feel I can speak a little better this way. Good morning. I have something prepared. My name is Jordan Brem. I'm a candidate for the Register of Deeds. When I began this campaign, I did not expect the bipartisan support that I've received the last few months. I was aware that realtors, attorneys, surveyors, and other real estate professionals were fed up with some of the policies that had been enacted over the last few years. I was aware that some county employees had butted heads with the current register, which had led to those employees moving on to other opportunities. I was not aware just how much the public's trust in that elected office has faded. As a local Democrat, I fully expected the support of other local Democrats. I fully expected the support of my friends and family, including, of course, my wonderful wife, Gloria. I even somewhat suspected that I had a decent shot at gaining the support of realtors and other real estate professionals, which proved true when I was endorsed by the Greater Regional Alliance of Realtors. I did not anticipate the public support from local Republicans, as shown by my yard signs appearing in spaces typically reserved for the more conservative candidates during an election season. What this has told me is that people are paying attention. I sat down to get my hair cut a couple days ago, and before I was even asked how I wanted my hair cut, the stylist asked, "How's the campaign going?" Just yesterday, one of my vendors from my work asked how he could get a sign for his yard to show his support, and I met him in the Family Fair parking lot. After chatting with him for a few minutes, I went into the store to pick up some things for dinner, and before I even made it into the store, I was stopped by one of my daughter's teachers who asked, "How are you feeling about November 3rd? People are watching. What I bring to the table is adaptability and flexibility. I bring the willingness to work with other departments at the county level and with the townships of Berry County instead of demanding they bend to my will before I do the job. My goals are simple. I will revise the fee schedule to ensure property owners are only charged what is necessary and allowed by statute. I will restore document numbers and recording information and ensure public information is, in fact, public. I will repair and restore interdepartmental and intergovernmental cooperation to ensure any governmental unit with legitimate interests in property ownership and property interests will have access to any information they require. In 2 weeks, voters have a decision to make, and the choice is clear. In the words of our elected county surveyor, voters will choose between a, quote, good, stable Democrat and an unhinged Republican. And if you drive around our county, you will see that this good, stable Democrat has the support of a great deal of good, stable Republicans. Thank you for your time.
Is there any other public comment this morning?
Good morning, Rick Moore, Berry County Parks Commission. I just wish to remind commissioners and guests alike to use your outdoor voice or speak into the microphone so we can all hear you. Jim Brown jumped up even faster than I did, so I didn't get a chance to say this first. But this is my weekly message. Please speak into the microphones or use your outdoor voice. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment this morning? Hearing none, the question before the committee, it's an interview with Mr. Sweeney for the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. Good morning, sir. Have a seat, make yourself comfortable,
All right, good
and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be on the Solid Waste Oversight Committee.
Okay, thank you.
Then we will get an opportunity to ask you questions.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, my name is Bill Sweeney.
Closer to the mic, please.
My name is Bill Sweeney.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm from Lessa Sanitary Service, and one of the reasons I'm applying for this position is I've been in the garbage business since '77, and I've been on, working with the trucks around the street, as Jim said, pretty much street level kind of thing. My mother and dad started the business in '67, and I myself have been at it for 43 years. But I feel as though that, while I am not a expert at anything, but I have had some experience, and maybe somewhere along the line I could lend some of that experience. And also, as a company, we've been very blessed in Berry County and other counties too, but in Berry County especially, we've been blessed to the point we probably haul more rubbish and recycling in this county probably than anyone else. And so I just say we've been really blessed in that matter. And I thought, well, you know, maybe I can do something or say something or bring up some history or something or that may help the committee. And then we also, as a company, would like to stay, you know, in touch with what's going on in the county too.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners Connor and Geiger on the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. Ladies first.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for interviewing and volunteering your time to sit on this board if chosen. I wanted to ask you, because it's the big topic, all the townships that are having trouble, but I wanted to ask about single stream recycling.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about that and if the viability of it and how we can make that happen?
Well, right now, we take all of our stuff to Grand Rapids, the recycling center in Grand Rapids, and it is single stream there. Years ago, when we first started, we've been recycling since 1991, and over those years, we have recycled a bunch of stuff. But over the years, we separated everything. When we picked it up at your street, at the curb, your residence, everything was separated. But now everything goes to the same place. We use some of our garbage trucks, as a matter of fact, and a lot of companies do that, to pick that up, and we take it back to our place. We have 40-yard roll-off boxes there. We dump into that, and then we take that from there up about 4 loads a week up to the recycling center. And as it stands right now, you know, it's anybody's guess. Recycling is here to stay, I'm sure of that. But how it goes and what it costs, I can tell you that when we started, we were getting money for our paper, we were getting money for our glass, we were getting money for our tin and our plastics, and we even have a baler at our place, but we don't use that baler anymore, and we got to the point where we weren't getting anything for any money for anything anymore. So it was more cost effective for us to quit baling it and giving it away. So we would take it to Grand Rapids and dump it off, and they would take it. Well, that was great, but then they started charging us $10 a ton to bring it up. And then they started charging us $40 or $45, I can't remember now, but now it's up to about $70 a ton. It actually cost us more to take recycling to Grand Rapids than it does to take rubbish to the landfill at this point. But, you know, it's here to stay. What the costs come and go, who knows, you know, they might come up with something that drops the cost, where they use it more, whatever. But as it stands right now, it's here to stay, but it is, you know, it is the single stream is here to stay, I feel.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Geiger.
Thank you for your application. So your family is the Less's family.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so your father was Les?
Yes. That's
Okay,
correct.
my family growing up had a Less's, you know, dumpster. So it's good to meet the family.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I have a question about culture. We can't force people to recycle. Have you seen over the past, 10 years a cleaner waste stream, or people being more conscientious about what they throw in the trash?
Unfortunately, I can't say that we have.
Okay.
Unfortunately. It's the same thing as with about everything else. Some folks do such a nice job with it, it's just perfect,
Mm-hmm.
And then we get anything from car parts to kitty litter in some of your recycling. So, yeah, and what they do at the recycling center is when they get that stuff in a load, they take their loader, they shove it off to the side as best they can,
Mm-hmm.
and then they throw it, take it to their landfill. Eventually, when they get enough, they'll take it to their landfill. So I would like to say that it's gotten better, and a lot of folks do a wonderful job with it, but still there's some that, and we've
Yeah.
gotten dead birds in it before, so, and diapers, and just the list goes on. But overall, I don't know, I can't really say that it has, maybe a little bit, but, you can have a sticker right on top of the carton. Sometimes what's in it is not
All right.
what's on the sticker, But
So if you were building a recycling program in Berry County, if you had some funds, what would be the most effective way to get the materials out of the waste stream and make a good use of it?
Well, I think the easiest for folks is your curbside recycling. And education too, as far as the cleanliness of the material. I think the more education we can give folks, the better off we are on that aspect. But probably I think more people recycle if it's easier, and I think the easiest way is right at the curb.
Right.
Yeah. We recycle down some back roads and stuff that, probably isn't very cost effective at all, but we still do it. So we've got some gravel roads that might only have, 2 or 3 recyclers on it, but we still go down and get it. It's the same.
So you need to have places to drop off recycling that's convenient to the homeowner.
It's got to be, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
And if you have a general space where all people can dump whatever they want, it's ineffective?
No, I don't think so at all, because we have to charge for the curbside, and so like with Jim Brown's out here, we get a lot of stuff out of there, so a lot of folks are using it. For the folks that use it, it's no doubt the best for them. It's just that for a lot of the places, a lot of folks aren't very close to a situation like that, so they're willing to pay a few dollars a month to just put it out in front of the house. But like I say, for Jim, he has a lot of stuff out there.
Last question. The county currently does a household hazardous waste recycling event. Has that been successful in your eyes?
Well, we take a box out there for them,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems to be, I really don't. I don't know the numbers on that, so I really can't speak to that, really.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Smelker.
I don't really have any questions for Bill. I've known Bill for years. And one thing I can tell you about him, you're going to hear the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. So, good to have you aboard, Bill.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Gibson.
I see you have a lot of experience. I have no questions, but thanks for applying.
Well, thank you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Again, appreciate your application. I think you'll be a great fit for this committee to have some boots on the ground and someone who's got that experience in there, so we appreciate you coming on the
Well,
team. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
And Commissioner Parker.
Thanks for applying, Bill.
Thank you.
I guess that I would like to pick your brain a little bit.
Sure.
Do you think it's practical to have a recycling place here in Berry County that can make product out of it that can be sellable?
I really don't know. I guess a lot depends on the market at the time. Right now, today, I can tell you that Grand Rapids brings in a bunch of stuff from many, many different haulers in many areas, and not only just Kent County, and they continuously speak of the fact that, it costs them a lot and they're losing money, that they have to put money in. Now, I can't prove that, it's just what they say, but I think it'd be very hard to do right now.
Okay.
Like I say, we probably pick up more recycling in Berry County than anyone, and even for what we pick up, I don't see where we would be able to. If we were to do it ourselves, just by what we get, I don't think there would be enough material, and it just costs so much to do that stuff right now, and the market's being so poor in the recycling markets since the deal with China was part of it, and there was other issues in that too, but that deal with China really, really did hurt. When China quit taking it, they got a lot of junk, and it wasn't all their fault, really. They got a lot of junk and stuff in that recycling, and when they got more picky, where they didn't need as much, then they could get more picky about it, and so that made it kind of a deal too.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sweeney, for applying. It's very nice to have community members that want to get involved in the various committees that the board oversees and participates in. So I appreciate your willingness to step up.
Well, thank you, and I also appreciate your patience with me here. I know this is my third round here, so all right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move to recommend to the Berry County Board of Commissioners approval to appoint William J. Sweeney to serve on the Berry County Solid Waste Oversight Committee in the position representing the solid waste industry for a 3-year term that begins on 11/1/20 and expires on 10/31/23.
Second.
Moved by Geiger, support by Smelker, to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to appoint William J. Sweeney to serve on the Berry County Solid Waste Oversight Committee in the position representing the solid waste industry for a 3-year term that begins on November 1st, 2020 and expires on October 31st, 2023. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved. Thank you. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to award the carpet replacement bid to Lansing Tile and Mosaic, Inc. at a price of $24,715, which includes an additional amount to carpet the entire mezzanine.
So moved.
Moved by Gibson, support by Jackson. Discussion. Thank you very much. That mezzanine carpet is a mess.
Yes, it is.
Any questions for Tim?
We talked about redoing the sound system in that room. I would ask that the administrator and the IT department look at making those changes while we're ripping up the room.
My other concern with that carpet is there's a leaky roof there. Is that been addressed?
We're working on that. So we have a leak when we get an east wind with rain. At this point, what we're thinking is probably not necessarily the roof, it's the siding on the clock tower. And we've been working with some historic preservationists to deal with that issue. So it's been truly difficult to track down.
Oh, I get it. I have an old house too.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we weren't putting in new carpet to get water spots again. Any other questions for Tim?
I'd like to just make a comment. I'm sure that you appreciate the fact that bid included lifting and moving.
Yes. Yes, we've worked with that company probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and they do. They rather in the past we would have to empty the room and get the carpet replaced and refill it back up, and this company does lift the furniture and take care of it. It's just a huge, huge savings for us, labor savings, to have someone who can do that.
It benefits all the way around. Any other questions or concerns for Tim? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to award the carpet replacement bid to Lansing Tile and Mosaic, Inc. at a price of $24,715, which includes an additional amount to carpet the entire mezzanine. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved.
Thank you.
At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Michigan Department of Agriculture Farmland and Open Space Preservation Program application, more commonly known as PA 116, number 20-6 for Donald Johnson in Section 33 of Irving Township.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Geiger, support by Gibson. Mr. McManus?
Sure. Yeah, so this is 3 separate parcels on one motion. The one was easy. If you looked at the minutes, 2 of the parcels are actually planned as low-density residential, which would historically negate a recommendation for approval. However, Mr. Johnson has been farming this property for years. There has been no movement for development. The plan is now 15 years old, and the Planning Commission felt that the recommendation should go through even with that knowledge.
Any questions for Mr. McManus? Hearing none, the question before the board is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Michigan Department of Agriculture, Farmland, and Open Space Preservation Program application, more commonly known as PA 116, 20-06 for Donald Johnson in Section 33 of Irving Township. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved. Next one. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Michigan Department of Agriculture, Farmland, and Open Space Preservation Program application, more commonly known as PA 116, 20-4 and 20-5 for G&H LEAP in Sections 7 and 18 of Orangeville Township.
So moved.
Moved by Geiger, support by Jackson. Mr.
Yeah,
McManus.
we put both of these on one motion since they're both in Orangeville Township, both in planned and zoned for rural residential. They are actively farming currently and own other properties in the area, so this was a fairly easy recommendation to you.
Man, I'm glad I don't have a parcel that reads like that. Mine are pretty easy. The southwest corner of the whatever.
Sure.
This one's very involved. Any more discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Michigan Department of Agriculture Farmland and Open Space Preservation Program application, more commonly known as PA 116, 20-4 and 20-5 for G&H LEAP in Section 7 and 18 of Orangeville Township. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next on our agenda, I have two motions in the same request, so we'll go forward with the first one. The board would entertain a motion, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached amended 2020 monumentation surveyor contracts to reflect increased compensation amounts for the Arrow Land Survey, Crane Land Survey, XL Engineering, Pathfinder Engineering, and Brian Reynolds, DBA Reynolds Land Surveying and Mapping PC, as shown in Attachment A, to reallocate $5,775 of grant money originally awarded as compensation to Carr and Associates LLC in their 2020 contract, and approval to terminate the existing 2020 monumentation surveyor agreement for Carr and Associates LLC per Article 19 of the contract approved by the Board of Commissioners on February 25th, 2020.
Support.
Moved by Connor, support by Gibson.
Good morning, Suzanne Hebner. I'm the grant administrator for the remonumentation program. I'm here in front of you today with these two requests. The first one being that the existing 2020 monumentation surveyor contracts be amended to increase the individual amounts by $1,000 for Arrow, Crane, Excel, and Pathfinder, and therefore reallocate the original money awarded to Carr and Associates to them. As you are aware of, Carr and Associates, Bob Carr, passed away this year, and no longer, to our knowledge, has a certified surveyor to perform the work. And also the corners weren't done. There were no corners completed yet, so we are trying to reallocate the money so that we can use the existing grant money by the end of the year. And to give an update to that, we just found out or heard that Carr and Associates got bought up by a different company now out of Fowlerville, which leads me then to my subsequent request to terminate the existing 2020 contract with Carr and Associates, as we have no idea what company that is. We haven't vetted them yet. And before they come along and say they have another certified surveyor and they want to do that, and we already reallocated the money, so I would like to request the termination of the existing contract based on the Article 19, just as a precaution, as to close out the year before we go into 2021.
Questions for Suzanne or oh, Brian, there we go. Any questions? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached amended 2020 monumentation surveyor contracts to reflect increased compensation amounts for the Arrow Land Survey, Crane Land Survey, Excel Engineering, Pathfinder Engineering, and Brian Reynolds, DBA Reynolds Land Surveying and Mapping PC, as shown in Attachment A, to reallocate $5,775 of grant money originally awarded as compensation to Carr and Associates LLC in their 2020 contract, and approval to terminate the existing 2020 monumentation surveyor agreement for Carr and Associates LLC per Article 19 of the contract approved by the Board of Commissioners on February 25th, 2020. All those, any we already went through the discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The item is approved. Next on our agenda, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of individual line item adjustments to remonumentation fund account number 244 to reflect 2020 approved state grant amounts as outlined below.
So I make that motion.
Moved by Geiger, support by Connor. Discussion? I'm sure this is just cleaning up the...
This is cleaning up the existing year. As I took this over in September, I came across a few line items that needed adjustment as per the awarded grant from the state, and one of the main things was that we needed actually money in the per diems account, so I am adjusting from the payroll and to the from the operations expenditures to the payroll, and just make the adjustments to reflect the grant money as it was awarded in 2020. So it's a cleanup, yes.
Any questions for Suzanne or Brian? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of individual line item adjustments to remonumentation fund account 244 to reflect the 2020 approved state grant amounts as outlined below. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. The item is approved.
Madam Chair, before we go into public comment, Commissioner Smelker and Commissioner Jackson and I had a really urgent health department meeting we probably should update the board on.
Okay.
Just want to say that we had an emergency health department meeting on Friday, and there is an alarming rise in COVID cases in Berry County. We are growing faster than Eaton County. We are growing faster than Eaton County in terms of COVID cases, especially in the Hastings and Middleville areas. We do not believe it is tied to schools being in session. So I would just say be very cautious and take this very seriously.
Any other comments? Public comment. Anyone at this time wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes. Yes, Brian.
Okay, I just have a quick one here. Hello?
Yep, it's good.
Okay. Along with the budget adjustments and the contract changes, you probably had a sheet in there about the grant awards for next year for remonumentation. Now, when I spoke with you in August or early September, it looked like we were going to get a very deep cut in our next year's grant. What you'll see there is that they adjusted the statewide grant from 4.8 million to 5.5 million. Now that's still a cut, but it's not nearly as deep a cut as it looked like it was going to be at that time. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. Also, I'd like to explain where this is coming from. In our current year, of course, every county got their grant amount, and Berry County is doing better than a lot of counties in actually using the money. We had about 10 weeks off where we didn't get any work done at all in March and April and early May, as did every other county. And we've been playing catch up since then, and we've been doing a pretty good job of getting caught up and actually using the grant money productively for remonumentation. That's not true of all counties, and especially the bigger counties, the more urbanized counties. They haven't been able to do the catch-up work, and so consequently the larger counties are not going to use all of their grant for the current year. In fact, they're probably going to be leaving a lot of money on the table, and so what is not spent from those grants goes back into the fund to be redistributed, and so the state is going to have a bigger pot of money to divide up for 2021 than they anticipated, and that's the reason.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments this morning? Anybody wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mark Monsignor from, I don't wish to, thank you. I'm from Berry Township. My comments dovetail exactly with Commissioner Geiger's. This is 6 or 8 meetings now since we've been meeting in person again, and this is the first time I've heard the COVID situation mentioned in and of itself. As of this morning, there were 540 cases in Berry County. 30 days ago, there were 272. In other words, in 30 days, we have had as many cases as we had in the previous 180 days. That's more than a spike. A spike would imply that we're coming down somewhat as well as going up, but we're just going up at a very alarming rate. So I would suggest that without mandates, we need education. And I would like to suggest that we have some kind of either monthly or weekly reporting at this meeting about what is going on with this situation. It's extremely dangerous, and if we're going to depend on education, we need education. Thank you.
Health Department commissioners, can you
Yeah, we can do that.
work on that? Thanks.
We'll be done.
Any other public comment this morning? Is there any other business to come before this committee? This time the chair would entertain a motion to go into closed session in accordance with Public Act 267 of 1976, subsection 15 -268, section 8, paragraph D, to consider the purchase of real property.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Gibson, support by Geiger. We are in closed session.
We need a roll call vote.
Oh yeah, we do. Madam Chair, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
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 Yes. Now we're in closed session. Thank you.